So, hi there and welcome back. So, in the previous section, we have studied the installation for the NGRX store along with how we can generate and create a new Angular project. We also attached a CSS library which is named as a Bootstrap so that we can get started with this library for simple yet elegant stylings. And now, before going up with this, I would first of all do something on the screen. First of all, what I would like to really do is I would then, okay, now what I want to do is I will shrink this window just side by side and then I will again link this video, this folder like this so that we have a clear picture of what things are happening onto our screens and how we need to deal with that. So now this looks much more clear in my honest opinion. Yeah. And with this, I also do border radius, border rounded to, let's quickly check for a while. So, but first of all, the main thing would be now we are going to make some input fields and then we are going to transform that logic into our RxJS world so that you understand like what we are up to and how we need to deal with all of those things. So it would be rounded, R stands for rounded, yeah, and here I can do it 4. Now this seems to me a good one. I can then also place some rounded nature over here. Yeah, that looks interesting. Now, yeah. Now here, what I'm going to do is I am going to have two input fields and then those input fields will then consist of some labels and with those labels then again I will be able to get some values from the user. Okay, so my main thing for this would be to make one normal form. So for this, what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to grab a form like this, a form. And with this form, I am going to create some div where I am going to have a form group, GRUP, just like this, form group. Let me just be very specific. Yeah, and with this form group, I am going to have some label and the label would be, for example, the username. Okay, so we are taking some label, which is username. I'm going to write some input where the type for this input would be straight away email. And with this email, I want some class, which is going to be form control like this. And the form control will then I will also supply some ID and the ID would be, let's say, username. And with this, I also want to have some placeholder and the placeholder would be enter your username. And then I can close this input. I can also format my document a bit. Okay. And here below this input, I then want to use some small tag and in the small tag I want to then have some classes and in the classes I want to then have form text like this and also I can do text muted class to make it a bit of a gray and we say we will never member, your email. And if we save this, you see all of these things are appearing more often a good. And with this, I make it to text left. And now these are looking good. And with the username in place, I also want a password check. So I can then make another div with class of form group, just like this. And here I can then grab a label, and the label would be my password, just like this. And with the password, I can then grab an input where where my type would be password. And with this, my class would be form control. Okay, it will be form control, and the ID would be password, and the placeholder can be enter your password, just like this. And then I can close this thing. And in the small tags, where I then have the class of form text, where I have then text muted class, just like this. And I can write provide the password for above email, something like this. Okay, so we have these two things in place, and with this, we now just do care about a button. So a button which will then submit this form. So for button, I can then write some button, and in the button, I then type this button type as submit, because this is going to submit the form. And with this, I can have a class which says btn primary, and I can say save, like this. Now this save button btn sm for a smaller button, and save form to save this form. Okay, yeah. And with this, I can have a class for empty, just like this, and text would be right aligned. Okay, uh, something like this. Okay, okay. So this is a form, and the structure would be that I write the email and the password. I save this form. My value should get uh, saved, and with this, I should then see a alert over here inside this form somewhere here. I guess I should see a alert that your form values were saved, something like that. So I can write something like your form values were saved, something like this. Okay, so some logic I'm thinking like it should say your firm value was saved, where I have alert success. Okay, and rounded is 4, so it should say something like this: your values were saved. And if your values weren't saved, then there should be something known as, then there can be something. Okay, now there should be a error which says, I think I should take display 4, so yeah, and where I don't have P, I do P0, and I do margin 0. Okay, your form values, I can say error saving form values, something like this we can do. And here we obviously have uh, danger, alert danger for red. So on the basis of saving a form, we have these two states where either your form will be saved or either your form won't be saved. So with this is our form, and now we need to do something. And in order to do those things, first of all, what you need to do, you need to implement, you need to have implements on init. You need to have this on init, which comes from here on init. And with this, you can have a constructor in your class, just like this. And then you can do ng on init, something like this. And then you need to initialize this class. You need some sort of additional Angular classes so that we can implement this feature of our reactive form. And before that, what we need to do is in the form we need to create the form. So we can say user form, which is going to be the type of form group. I import those things. Then I have a username form control, which is going to be of type form control, just like this. And we have a password form control, which is then going to be a form control for our password. So form control, yeah. Now it's good practice that you always and always specify the access modifier for your variable. So here I implicitly, explicitly tell that this are the public variables, just like this. Now these should then your private, then your sorry, your constructor should then always grab a form builder, which V stands for FV, and which stands for form builder, something like this, which can again comes from at the rate Angular forms. And here I am gonna increase some size. Okay, it's looking good. Okay, and here what I'm gonna do is just to make it look more neater and nicer, I will grab a div and will then grab a class which says form underscore container, so something like this. And then I'm gonna specify some flexbox for this so that this is central. So display is flex. Okay, display is flex. My flex direction is towards column. I want to justify contents over the center. I want to align my items toward the center. And if I save everything, so nothing changed. But as soon as I apply some height to this, as soon as I apply some height to this, let's say 100 VH, my form is in center now. Okay. Now with this, I then want to write two values and then save my form. Okay. So how I can do that? What you want to do now is, and one more thing, what I will really like to do is I don't want this thing to be like this. Can save this thing just like this, and let's do a bit of formatting and can say this is text primary, just to show that yeah, this is in here text info, and let's bring it in center, so text center to bring it in center, and then some padding. Obviously p2 would be nice, p3 can also be, but P2, P2 is always nicer, and PB3 we can take for some, but from the top, I want padding to be 0. Okay, obviously we can then grab P3, even P4 could work for us. Yeah, so this is Redux NGRX, and here we are now good with what we are planning to do. I can again grab this. Okay, I don't want anything like this, but we can do P5 and I say Angular so that you always are clear what we are doing. Angular state management. Okay, Angular state management. And yeah, I can do P6 to be more clear what we are doing. And yeah, PV will be only one in this case, which is fine. And here I can do PB to 2 or 3 or 4. Yeah. So now this is looking a bit nicer. Okay, so Redux NGRX, which is Angular State Management Solution. It's a solution. Okay, it's a solution where you can use SUP for N. So it's solution. Okay. Cool. One thing more, what I would like to do is for my body, I will like to do it a BG dark in this scene. Okay. I need to reload this, and now it's looking much more nicer in my opinion, in my frank opinion. And here to our this one where we have entire thing in one place. Here is our form which we are gonna use. So till now we are happily developed this feature. Now next thing in this would be to make a function, and with before that I will also add one more thing, which is some box shadow around this thing. So this is going to be SHADOW shadow. And for the shadow, I'm going to use LG so that this thing can really stand out from our normal box. So it's shadow LG. And trust me, I can see that color in action. And I can also prove it to you if I add some color. You can see that I'm able to see. Okay, I'm able to see that color. Really frank speaking. I am yet able to see that thing in action, but obviously that depends how you are dealing with all of those things. But I can make sure that you are really seeing that in action. Well, let me just check where we were. Yeah, we were here. Okay, so yeah, okay. Hmm, okay. Now, because we don't have any success or errors, that's why what I'm going to do over here is my submission status. So I can say public is form submission status. Okay, we can do is submitted, which is going to be a boolean prop. So and another one is error, which is again a boolean state. So I can then grab a boolean state for this one like this, and I can then check if this one is submitted, then only I am interested to show this one. So I say is submitted, and if there is an error, then only I want to display this activity here, just like this. Yeah. So if we save everything, now you see we don't have those messages anymore. And with this, what I easily understood is we need to have a display of class, or we can have a h6 for now. H6, h5 will also there, and we can say please fill your credentials. Okay, this is fill. Please fill your credentials, or if you want, you can also write it in a in a manner of pure I should say in a pure English way. You can do anything, okay? You can do anything what you prefer. You can play along, you can have whatever you want, okay? And form, I should then say from top, I need two padding, please, or basically four padding, please, okay? Three would be fine, okay? And for this, let's have some padding. which is PT2. Okay, or we can say details. Okay, yeah. Now with this, okay, with this, now what we wanna do is, and if you want, you can go along and do whatever things you want. Okay, so this card where we have this alert light, let me also show you with the warning. So it looks something like this. If you want, again, you can do it some light, and here you have everything. This is it, where you can do a warning for this yellowish tone of color. Okay, this is a yellowish tone, so it's up to you how would you want to deal. I have shown you all the solutions to it. Okay, now we have to connect this form group with our form group. So this is a form, and here we'll do form group, and the form group over here will be our form group. And in order to submit this class, we need ng submit this directive, and here you are going to say on submit form, something like this, on submit form, like this. We need to make sure that this exists over here. That's why we will make this method like this. And now it complains that form group is not a non-element. So how we are going to do that? We are going to our app.module, and here we need to import the forms module, the reactive forms module, and the common module. We need all of those things from the Angular world so that we can work. And now this is no longer complaining. Now here we can then do console.log, and we check what is there inside our user form dot values to obtain the values of the form group. But till now this isn't available. So what you need to do, you need to do this dot user form group is equal to this dot fb dot group, and then personally you have to create the group of what you require. Okay, so I can here then grab something like this, and here I can say that my username is equal to this dot user form control, something like this, and my password would be equal to this dot password form control. And from here I can then grab my value to log in the value. Now, if I go on the inspect solution for this, and let me just bring this window to an absolute side, where I can manage this window toggling via, we do have some sort of functionalities where I can manage this thing. I guess we have a movement of this one. Let me just check. Okay, here, let's click on this save form, and you see you get this value. Let me just increase the size a bit, and here you can see that we have the user and the password as null. So what my criteria would be to show that if I have some problem, something like this, I have some problems like I see over here, then what would be my ideal solution during this case? My ideal solution during this case would be to then store something like this: const form values is equal to this dot user form group dot value dot, and from the value I can grab the username. Or you can also do object destructuring, where I can accept the username and I can then expect the password like this. And then we check if username or password are not there are not there, then what we want to do, we want to do we want to call the alert, and we want to say credentials credentials are invalid. And if this thing is fine, we don't have we have all of the values, then we proceed to our logic. So if we check, if we save the form, we say credentials are invalid. If we write something, we say credentials are invalid. And if we again write something, we then are obviously going to get everything. But here you can always and always create some interesting lines, whatever you want, or in my personal frank opinion, what you should always do is you should attach validation. You should attach validation to your form. So for that, what you need to do is you need to then do validator, and in the validator, you need to then pass exactly what you want. Okay, what you want to validate in this. Okay, but here I will be showing you one easier way where if you see that here it accepts the form, but I then want to personally target this form group, this one, and then add validation to this group. More on this video will be coming to the next part of this video. Thanks for watching, and I will now see you in the next one.